Welcome to Vida Tennis, the podcast for those of us who eat, sleep, breathe tennis. Today, we get to hear from Tarek Francis, who is all the way in Brussels. Tarek has over 30 years of experience as a coach and leader in the tennis world. He's an entrepreneur who is involved in a variety of projects, such as the Ikigai Business and Leadership Academy, Salon Tennis, and Smash Experience. He has developed different training modules for tennis coaching and club management throughout the years, like Easy 10 and the Smash Academy. He's certified by PTR, USPTA, and he's also a professional speaker and consultant. Welcome to Vida Tennis. I'm so excited to talk with you today.
Thanks, Jennifer. My pleasure.
I've been learning about you and the different projects that you're involved with. It seems that you kind of have your hands in so many different facets of the tennis industry. So I thought you'd be a perfect guest for Vida Tennis. But let's break this down a little bit. Just if you don't mind, just quickly walk us through your experiences as a coach and tennis leader and where you are now in your career.
Okay, I will try to summarize the last 30 years. So I had a first career in an IT corporate called IBM, working there as a sales executive for a few years. Then the tie was not my best clothes. I was looking for something with more purpose. I'm playing tennis as a recreative player, a bit more than that, since my 11. And I met a friend when I was asking me a lot of questions who was looking for a coach in his academy. And he asked me, "Are you available tomorrow? We have to replace 2 coaches. I know you were giving some lessons where you were at school. Can you help us?" And it took me less than 10 minutes to know that this was my purpose of life, tennis coaching. So I decided to learn how to do that fantastic job. First, being certified in Belgium, then decide to visit the world a little bit, being certified with the PTR, the USPTA, the RPT in Italy. In the meantime, I'm also a global cardio tennis trainer, being trained by the fantastic Michel Krause. Yeah, that's it for let's say, the coaching part. I also met so many great people in my tennis career. I met Luis Brigera. I've been working with him for 10 years, organizing camps in his academy. We became friends. I learned a lot of it from him. I met the godfather of mini tennis at the French Tennis Academy, Jean-Claude Marchand. Let's say that he gave me the virus, and I decided to become a specialist of tennis teaching for all age groups, starting from 4 years old to 77 years old. And I do that now since 26 years. I've been starting with the schools program. That was a great experience. I think we had more or less 15,000 children coming to our programs, or we went to the primary school to deliver tennis lessons. Yeah, I've been working for a couple of years in several clubs, and I was looking for one where I could develop the entire scope of, let's say, my creativity. This was 25 years ago. I really wanted to launch a tennis school from scratch. And I pushed the door of a club where there were no more members, no more players, nobody. And I shake the hand of the owner and told him, "Okay, let me develop the tennis school and I will develop the tennis club for free for you." We did that for a few years. 10 years later, we bought the club with one of my friends. We are 50-50 in all our corporate. So now we are the owner of that club. We are managing 2 other facilities. One's multi-sport center, one tennis and padel academy, because padel in Europe is already booming, the same as pickleball in the US. That's it for the sports activity. We have more or less 60 coaches working with us now. We have a sports school oriented model. So we have basically the first school was the tennis school. Then we decide to develop with the sports center other sports school based on the same teaching model as for the tennis. So we have a soccer academy, a climbing academy, a judo academy, a gymnastic academy, dancing academy, etc. And that is making us quite unique in our environment, because the entire family can find an answer to its sports questions. In the
Yeah.
meantime, you remember I quit IBM a few years ago, and I was looking for a solution to manage my sports activities and didn't find anything on the market. So 22 years ago, we launched with another friend a software company on the web, which was quite innovative 22 years ago, with a management and booking system for the tennis club and tennis academy. And then we enlarged that to the entire sports industry, and we became the leader on the Belgian market, which is a small one. But anyway, we had about 350 clients at that time, and I sold my shares 2.5 years ago to have more time to inspire the coaches and the tennis industry to be innovative and to move the lines of that will be maybe and be unpolite, that conservative industry. Since 3-4 years now, I invest more time in the mentoring startup, giving coaching courses on and off court. I'm working from time to time for the French Federation, delivering some conference, the entrepreneurship mindset for tennis coaches. I'm doing another one in 2 weeks now on the central of Roland Garros, which is still an amazing atmosphere.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Let's say that's it for the moment.
That's it. No, that's amazing. What a career and what an inspiration, right? I always like to think of tennis coaches as almost like mini CEOs. Like, we are so multifaceted. Obviously, there are some coaches that are very focused on the on court and can stay their whole lives teaching and spending time on court. But I think, I don't know if the majority, but I would say a good portion of us like to explore other things in the industry that are equally exciting. And as we progress and learn more, then new doors open up where we can uh,
Definitely.
help the sport grow, right? So I think that's super interesting. Do you still coach today, or are you off the court now?
Yeah, during summertime, I dedicated my time to adult beginners. So people that are thinking it's impossible to start tennis at a certain age. After an hour, they are playing tennis. So I'm using the same methodology for them too. I'm also really interested in the mental side of that crazy sport. So
Mhm.
I'm helping some competitive players to use a better mindset. And it's amazing because I did that with one pro a few years ago. Her coach asked me to help with my entrepreneur mindset, and not especially talking about tennis, but just talking about experience, how you manage mistakes, how you can learn from losing a match, etc.
And I've talked about this with other guests on the podcast about how it seems like in Europe is a little bit different mindset than the US when it comes to adults. Like, here it's very popular to see a bunch of adults doing a clinic or taking private lessons, but not so much in Europe.
At the Vandermeer Academy PTR symposium, I think 22 years ago now, I saw how Denis has developed his wonderful academy, adults only. And I saw that and I said, okay, there's something to do in Europe, especially in my region, because nothing is done on a professional way for the adults. And
Yeah,
even today, I think because the junior tennis schools are fully booked, the sports director do not care about the adults. And from my perspective, and what I saw from Denis Academy, is that the best way to manage a tennis program is to deliver for the entire family. That was my goal.
absolutely.
So yeah, I think that in the main club we have about 800 players in our tennis programs, and I think a quarter of them are adult. So yeah, this is quite different, and that's why I also created a coaching program to teach them how to do, because there's of course there's the on court work, but there's a lot of court work to do with the digital marketing, with the talking to adults.
So do you still see that there's like empty space or I guess space for more clubs to develop more adult programming and, throughout Europe or Brussels?
I would say worldwide,
Yeah.
because the way we share our passion is not the same way as 20 years ago. So we have to be more client driven. There's a lot of space. I see from time to time it's a problem. I see space everywhere.
Hmm.
There are so many things to do to give the right position of our sport on the sports industry in general.
Agreed. And that might seem obvious to you, but trust me, like I mean, I was born in South America, born and raised in Venezuela, but so I have seen like different perspectives as travel and stuff. But those of us that work in the US, that's not necessarily obvious to our eyes because we deal with a lot of adults. So to you it's like, yeah, there's all this space, but for someone that's only taught in the US or mostly taught in the US, it's kind of hard to imagine that, oh my gosh, like other clubs don't even have adult programming. That's kind of crazy for us to think about.
Yeah. Anyway, even in my area, it's the most competitive area for the tennis clubs in Belgium. I think that we have more or less in our municipality, we have more or less 20 clubs. So we were the last one to come on the market. And now we are leading the market just because we think different and we act different. So for me, there's place for everybody. From the time you're living from your passion and you stay yourself, you bring something unique to the market. So even on a very competitive market, you can still bring something.
And it's the sport of a lifetime, right? You can pick it up at any
Definitely.
play your whole life. That's the best part about tennis. What do you think are some of the struggles that tennis coaches face? Obviously, you're working with Ikigai and you develop this whole system to help coaches. So can you talk a little bit
Yeah.
about that? And what are some of the main struggles that you see?
Let's start from the Ikigai concept. I discovered that concept, I think, 5 years ago. And I'm living that concept since 25 years ago without naming it. So when I discovered that Japanese concept, I thought this could help, let's say, personal development in general. And my target people, the tennis coaches. Generally, tennis coaches are giving tennis lessons and they do that for 20, 30, 40, 50 hours a week. I think at the time I gave 60 hours a week, which cannot be the job for a lifetime. We need to develop a more purpose-driven career and give perspectives to the coaches because we train to coach, okay, this is, let's say, the basic of that job, but they need to develop other skills.
Yeah.
That's the future because tennis coaches are the ambassadors of our sport. They are the sales representative of our sport. In the 80s, the clubs were fully booked. You don't remember that time. In the 80s, I was a big fan of John McEnroe facing Bjorn Borg. So the clubs were fully booked. Even if you were not able to be a good coaches, you had a job because people, they want to play tennis. Now we compete with many other sports. In my opinion, most of the coaches are still in the previous century. It's hard to say, but that's what I'm seeing on and off court. When I'm talking to a big conference with 500 coaches and I tell them, you guys, you are the salespeople of our sport. And they tell me, okay, you want us to become salesmen. You can put the words you want, but that's a fact. Basically, you're an ambassador. You must know your club perfectly, your programs perfectly. Yeah, you're a sales rep. At least you're a sales rep, and you can become a sales manager, and you can become a marketing manager if you have the right skills. You can make an entire career, but the path for that career exists in the industry. You are a tennis coach, you are a tennis head coach, and that's it. Some of tennis companies in the US are more levels, but let's say that this is not a majority. So we have to create new job. My vision is that a tennis coach spend half of his time on court, half of his time off court.
Yeah.
so that he can make an entire career without injuries everywhere and have a more open mind.
I so agree with you. And I think that there's a flaw in the system. And I think one of the flaws, to me, the most evident flaw is the compensation system, because coaches get compensated for the hour that they spend on the court. And your motivation is to be on court. And this summer, I was at a club and I got to interact with the golf department a lot. And I got to see how the golf pros actually, their compensation is different. They get paid a little extra for the hour that they're on court, but it's all encompassing. It's being on the pro shop, it's running an event, helping out with different facets of the club. It's not just teaching. And I think that that's kind of the main culprit for just why coaches kind of get stuck on court. What do you think about that?
During my business training sessions, I'm always comparing the tennis industry to the fitness industry, less to the golf industry as I know it less. In the fitness industry, we get the same kind of job. You are a personal trainer, or you're going to make small group training or large group training. Don't you see any similarities to our job? So
Yeah.
there are a lot. The difference, the mindset difference is huge. In the fitness industry, just for the continuous learning, they got that in their mind. They invest in themselves. They are following 10 days a year at least of soft skills courses of other skills, but they are in a continuous program. So they are learning sales, they are learning marketing, because that's the only way to sell their product. Why are they doing that? Because they are losing each year 50% of their clients, even if they're good. In the tennis industry, until a few years ago, even if you give a poor service, you get a lot of retention. So you don't have to make any efforts to keep your clients. That was up to the time the pickleball came in the US and the padel came in Europe, which for me is a big challenge, but it's a great challenge, because take the best practice of pickleball, take the best practice of padel, that are fantastic sports, and you make a better sport from tennis. And people that are working in pickleball or padel are more paid than in tennis. Why? Because they are fitting the market. And in my opinion, tennis is from time to time out of the market, the coaches and the tennis industry in general.
Say more about that. Why do you say that? What makes you say that?
Take my comparison with the fitness industry. So they are learning soft skills. We do not learn soft skills.
But do you
One
think
thing.
a pickleball or padel coach is learning soft skills? Like what makes
Uh,
pickleball padel coaches?
so the difference is that paddle and pickleball do not have the same history as tennis. They are young sports. Okay, so they don't have that traditional history, and they do not care about be compliant with that history and with that tradition. So they are fitting the market. Let's take a software company like Playtomic. How can you imagine that this company is one of the leader in the software companies for the paddle and paddle only? Because there are fit two problems. One, finding a court, the other, finding a partner. It's that simple. And this comparison is the same for the tennis industry. Playtomic is leader in the paddle industry. There is no leader in the tennis industry. Compared to play doesn't exist, because the market is totally fragmental.
And we are seeing a lot of padel. It's starting to pop up more and more here in the US. As you know, pickleball is a beast. I have a love hate thing with pickleball, because I think it's great. It has a lot of great things going on, but it's also taking away a lot from tennis. And maybe you don't see that as much in Europe, but definitely here. So
Yeah,
it's a give and take.
yeah. Let me just make a more sports comparison. When people start paddle, 7 out of 10 will continue to play paddle, because it's an easy access sport, the same as tennis. One out of 10 will continue. because it's not that easy sport. So how do we do the things different so that people that do not succeed easily in tennis will still continue? We have to change the teaching paradigm. For example, I love this initiative from the USTA, the Red Bull campaign. And this is amazing to compare from one country to another. Red Bull sounds to be the new gold for tennis for the US, and we use Red Bull since 25 years now. So it's totally integrated. You have the material, but that's not enough. You need the methodology. And I had the chance, as I mentioned, to meet Jean-Claude Marchand at the French Federation. And I had the chance to meet the next round from France too, Olivier Le Thor, who teach me a lot of things since 20 years, so that we make tennis easy to introduce. And that's, for me, one of the key topics for tennis. People have to learn fast, enjoy fast, socialize, and have fun. If you get those four key elements, they will continue for life.
Yeah, I actually did a program at one of the clubs where I taught in the past, but it was like a 4 or 8 week program of introduction to tennis, and I thought it was brilliant. And it was like that. You started with red balls, moved to orange, green, yellow, and just got players to be more focused on the rally skills. And
Yeah.
I thought that was I think that's how everyone should be introduced to tennis. I think every club should have something like that
Yeah.
to get people started in the game.
You can even enlarge the concept because you can introduce the teaching concept, but why don't we make some alternate competitions like that? If people have, let's say, the Red Bull levels, why don't we make competition just for them? Competitions are, at the moment, you need to have the yellow ball skills, and if not, you do not compete. Why don't we make orange ball competition, green balls, red balls, and then you go to the yellow balls so that they feel comfortable? Because you play tennis for a couple of years, me too. It's always the same. Is the guy or the girl in front of me, does he or she has the right level to play with me?
And we got to do better at bringing in new people to tennis and serving people that are new to the sport in a better way. But what about because we diverted a little bit, what about other soft skills, maybe off court skills that coaches need to get better at?
So I've been talking about, let's say, sales skills, marketing skills, digital skills, admin skills, so
Mhm.
that they can have other jobs in the club. For me, the clubs should be managed by tennis coach. It's my own experience, of course, but I think that's, if I did it, anybody can do it. And starting with one thing that is on and off court, more mental coaching skills, because it helps for your personal development, it helps for your players, it helps for your management skills. So investing in themselves is, for me, the best investment possible.
Agreed. And feel free to share whatever you want to share. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but what are your thoughts on like the different certification pathways that are available for tennis? And you can speak on it because you're certified by all of them.
I'm still following certifications, courses, etc. each year. So it's, for me, it's a lifetime perspective. Comparing the certifications, in each certification, I learn something. And for me, it's more to have the mindset, okay, I follow that certification. What do I take in my toolbox to be a better coach? And if you take 10% of each certification, short certification or long-term certification, take 10% of each, you're going to be the best coach in the world. So which is best? All are good. From time to time, it's a kind of, do you have a fixed mindset? You do your certifications because you must have one and then it's finished? Or do you have a development certain mindset? You follow courses and you develop yourself all life long.
And I see a lot of coaches, I probably shouldn't say a lot of coaches, but some coaches nonetheless, that, the only reason why they do it is because of the insurance, the liability insurance. But, I think you should always strive to learn more. I mean, we don't know it all by any means.
Definitely. I want to share another thought about how the coaches can be better compensate. Let's take the example. I really love that program, cardio tennis. So basically, an adult clinic, you put 4, 6 players on the court. That's the maximum. With cardio tennis, you can go up to, let's say, the classical cardio tennis lessons from 8 to 12 players. So you can develop a win situation. The club can earn more money because there are more players on the court, and the coach could be more compensated because there are more players on the court. So it's simple and efficient, and you can do that with a lot of programs. I love the idea that I'm trying to share with our coaches. Come with an idea that is not yet developed in our structure. So from a certain perspective, you can say, okay, we are already fully booked. And from another perspective, you can say, okay, there are many slots available, so we can still do better. And if a coach come to me and tell me, Tarek, I think that we can, let's say, take something that everybody is doing. We can make an early bird program on our 4 cover courts during the entire winter on Friday because they are available. Okay, let's create a win situation. Go on, and you will be more compensated because you develop the program too. We have to create space for creativity.
And be open-minded.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on how we can promote tennis in a better way? There's this initiative here in the US saying that tennis is the healthiest sport to play. There's all these great benefits of tennis, of course.
You must just be client oriented and market oriented. Since decades, we promote tennis through come and have some tennis lessons in our club. We have tennis memberships. What is the added value of your membership? What is the added value of your tennis program? So now we are talking about health. Okay, we could, Jack Gruppel, I think, spoke about health 30 or 40 years ago. And when you read him, it's still accurate, and you can still use the 10 benefits of tennis for your marketing. So we need to be marketing oriented, market oriented, and use the benefits and sell the benefits of tennis in place of just selling the product. So you can sell fun. People are looking for fun. Remember the padel comparison. People are looking to socialize with others. How you do that? People want to move. How you do that? People want to learn. Fast. How you do that? It's easy. There are many ways to sell tennis, and you can do that for recreational players, even for competitive players. They can have fun too if it's your marketing person.
I wanted to ask you because I know you're also on the technology side. I wanted to just hear your thoughts on if there's any new technologies that you're excited about in the tennis world.
Yeah, I've been launching a professional tennis event called Salon Tennis. Now we move a little bit to racket experience because of the enlargement of the racket sports industry. So I'm in contact with a lot of startups and a lot of innovations. And it's really amazing because there are many things that can help the daily job of a coach from the admin side, but also from the coaching side. Our next event is in 2 weeks now, and there are 6 startups that are bringing new stuff to the market dedicated to a better coaching experience and with the client in mind. What do I mean is that you know Carlos Salom?
Who, sorry?
Carlos Salom from Synergize Sports.
I don't
This
think so.
guy, he's one of my business mentor. He's at the initiative of the Tennis Innovation Conference also. And I read one of his article. It was in 1998. I remember it well. 4 pages in the PTR magazine. And he wrote something really simple. Put people in a progress pipeline and they will stay with you for life. And technology can help us for that. So there are many platforms there are so many video platforms to have a better tennis experience on court with line calling, with stroke analysis, etc. I'm now part of a big project with VR technology where we're gonna blend tennis lessons with on-court and virtual technology courses too. It's amazing because you can double the revenue of tennis coaches without doubling his working time.
With VR, you mean?
With the VR technology.
That's interesting. I tried to try it, but the one time that I had the chance to try it was the Sensorina. There was something wrong with the machine and I wasn't actually able to use it. But I've always been interested in that. It looks really cool.
It's amazing because from the neurologic side, it brings a lot to a tennis player. Or for players with an injury, it can still train several skills with the VR. So the market is just amazing.
Yeah, I think that's really exciting. The VR technology for training and also the esport.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool, and I can't wait to see where that goes.
We're gonna probably play together on a tennis esport tournament.
Oh yeah?
Without moving from our office.
That would be so cool. I'm really excited to see where that goes. Then I also wanted to ask you, what is the Grand Slam and the double bagel moment of your tennis career?
There are several high points. I will start with those. The day where we signed the buying contract for the club. I won't spend 30 minutes explaining to you the story, but it was just incredible to finally be together with a guy who became my friend. I knew him for 6 weeks, and we were at the starting point with 4 guys. We stayed with 2, and we didn't know each other. And we signed a contract, and we became friends. So this is, definitely a high point. Another one was 3 years ago.
How long ago was that?
18 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And we're still a partner and friends.
That's amazing.
Another one was sharing my passion for coaching with 600 coaches on the central court of Roland Garros 3 years ago.
I was invited. I meant to ask you about that because that was amazing.
So I was invited by the French Federation to share my entrepreneurship mindset with the tennis coaches. I think I made talking and presentations since more than 30 years. But I was quite impressed to be on the central court where world titles, and I didn't play on the court, but I gave a conference there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So this was amazing too. And the third great experience was with that pro player, Marina Zanevska. She was at her best level 60, the WTA ranking, and we start working together. She was 253. Her coach was one of my previous player, and he's the one who asked me to share my entrepreneur mindset with her. And I told him I got absolutely no experience with pro players. What do you want me to share? And we worked with her during a year. It was just, an amazing experience. The lowest one, before buying the club, I was working about 18 hours a week, and I was about to lose everything I had built the 10 years before, because the club was not my own property. I was renting the club. It cost a lot of money. I didn't earn any money. And the only destination was bankruptcy.
Oh, wow.
And 1 year later, the highest moment, we bought the club.
What a comeback.
It's how you learn from losing a match.
Yeah.
For me, you can compare the entrepreneur mindset with a tennis player mindset. There are so many things we can learn from tennis playing for our personal development. It's amazing.
That's so true. Tennis definitely teaches us a lot of life lessons. All right. Well, thank you so much. How can people find you? Who do you want to contact you? So
I think if you type Tarek Francis in Google, they will find my websites, my social media. My main site is tarekfrancis.com, and there are links to other websites too. So feel free to contact me to share your passion. It will be a great pleasure.
And you're still running the Ikigai, right?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
When does that run?
I'm only due customized training for clubs and academies, because from my experience, if I'm just teaching to one guy, when he comes back to his club, he has to face so many difficulties, he will never implement what he has learned. So I'm doing training sessions for the entire team, coaching for the entire team so that they succeed with the concept.
That's so true. That's happened to me many times where, you go to a conference, you're like, this is a great idea. I'm so inspired. And then it's like you go back to reality. It's like, oh, that's not going to work. Forget it. I'm going to go back to what I was doing before. Happens all the time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Tarek, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. Loved having you, and don't hesitate to reach out with anything.
Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure too. Hope to see you soon, virtually, or maybe during a travel. Never know.
Oh, I can't wait to go back to Europe. Maybe next year. I'm thinking about going to Italy, but we'll see.
Great destination.
For a vacation, though, but
Yeah.
I love, and I'm learning French. So maybe next time I talk to
Great.
you in French.
I will test you.
All right.
Thanks
Well,
a lot, Jennifer.
thank you so much. Have a great one.